Hello, this is Jeannie, and today we're going to play with some of our iDesign shapes in the I Love Fall Most of All. What we're going to do is we're going to light up our October pages with a cute little jack-o'-lantern. What are you going to need? First of all, you will need the iDesign file, I Love Fall Most of All. And we're going to use from that design grouping a pumpkin and a leaf. Next, you're going to need the Keynote basic shapes of the triangle and the star. And we're going to play around a little bit with that star for a little effect that will add sparkle to your life. And finally, you need the parentheses, just half, and from the keyboard, and I'll show you what we're going to do with that. Okay, for the sake of time, I have already copied and pasted from my iDesign file the pumpkin and the leaf that I'm choosing to use. And now we're going to start manipulating these two objects in our Keynote. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to play with the pumpkin a little bit, and I'm going to make it bigger. Sandy does a great job with these design files, but sometimes it just, by making it larger in Keynote, and then when I copy and paste it into my planner, I just maintain the smoothness of the lines just a little bit better. They're not ever bad, but sometimes they just have that much more spark. So I'm going to add some shadows to this, and if you've never done this, it really is very easy. I'm going to double click on the sections and I'm going to start adding my shadow to. So it's paintbrush, style, and then I'm just going to turn the shadow on. And there's just a little bit of a drop shadow for this first box with the blue check mark, and that's the one I want. I'm going to do this with all of the 5 sections of this pumpkin. Don't want that. Shadow. Shadow. I am really heavy-handed today. Shadow. And shadow. And you can see that just that little bit of a drop shadow gives this pumpkin some pop. It just comes right off the page. Can't forget the stem. And I'm going to turn my shadow on. I might play a little bit with just different shadows on this one, just because it's up there all by itself. Yeah, I think I like that second one in the shadow box. And now I'm going to do just a little bit with the leaf. Again, I'm going to enlarge it, and I'm going to turn it. Now this, I'm really hard sell sometimes. I had to really think about this. I put my finger, and you can't see it, but I'm going to place it in the center of the leaf, and the leaf is going to kind of expand. And now I can take and place my other finger, so it's 2 fingers, over one of those blue circles and simply rotate the direction. So it's finger in the center, it gets bigger, and rotate. That took me forever to figure out. I just want you to know that. Aren't you glad I did it? And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tap on the green, and I'm going to turn on the shadow and a little bit more depth, and I didn't take it all. So I'm going to select the whole thing, bring it over to my pumpkin, and I'm actually going to move it behind the pumpkin. So I go to paintbrush and arrange, and I'm going to move it front to back. And now it's kind of peeking out from the back side of my pumpkin, and I like that. So I'm going to click off of my pumpkin, and now I'm going to make a little bit of magic and carve my pumpkin. Okay, and now to the fun stuff. We're going to be using the basic shapes and some of the keyboard alphabet in order to complete the final steps of our jack-o'-lantern. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go to across the top bar, the plus sign, and we're going to select the square with the circle behind it, which is the second from the right, and we're going to select the triangle. So the triangle comes in, and first thing I'm going to do, and we'll be back to this in a few minutes, is I'm going to go to the paintbrush, arrange, constrain proportions. That way my triangle won't get skewed out of shape. The next thing I'm going to do is back to the plus sign, and I'm going to select the star. And I'm going to drag the star up and over to the other side so that I'll work with it in a little bit. And last but not least, I'm going to select Basic plus Basic Text, and I'm going to go to the paintbrush, and I want something that's pretty straightforward. Helvetica works. I think everybody has that. Arial works well. And I'm going to go back to my size, and I'm going to size it up to pretty large, probably around 200. So I'm going to hit the plus signs under text. 200, oh, that's good. And I'm going to hit shift on my keyboard, shift and the parentheses above the 0, and that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. Now, I'm going to click off of that, and I'm going to click on it again. You see the 2 blue dots? Now I'm going to rotate this. So I'm going to press my index finger in the center, and I'm going to take, and we hope this is going to work. Yeah, there we go. My middle finger, and I'm going to rotate it around to about 270. Somewhere in there. 270 looks good. And that's going to be like that for our use very, very shortly. We're going to move that over to the side. First thing we're going to do is we're going to work on our triangles. So I'm going to select the triangle, and I'm going to select the paintbrush, and I'm going to select style. Over next to the word fill, you see a blue box. There's an arrow that points to the right. Click on that. And in the 4 words at the top, select gradient. Now, it's important to remember which color you're choosing, okay? That way you can repeat it if you need to. So my start color is going to be over on, I'm going to hit the arrow. My start color is going to be a yellowish gold. That's perfect. Click back. My end color is going to be a deep orange. Probably that one works well. Back, I don't know. I have to see where, if I move the angle around, where my yellow actually shows up. And I like that. If I flip the color, yeah, that's pretty good too. It becomes personal preference, let's just face it. So I have it set at an angle of 321 degrees, and that looks fine. Now I'm going to select my parentheses, select text color, again, gradient. And I'm going to go back to the same color scheme. That's why it's important to remember it. And let's just play with it. Flip the color. There we go. I like that. That works for me. And that's going to be the face of my little guy. All right, we're going to go ahead and hit the style button. So it's paintbrush, style. Now we're going to turn on a shadow. What we want is this shadow for this particular part of our design. We want it to kind of pop out. So sometimes it takes just running through the pre-designated shadows here. I kind of like that one. I kind of like that one. So I think it's probably going to be the third one on the top row. That's important because I select my crescent, I go to shadow, third one on the top row. Unless that one's better. I think that one's actually better. So let's go back to the triangle There we go. We'll go with that. And that's perfect for that. And we're going to use that in just a moment, those two pieces of our design. I'm sorry the word that is there. But what I want to do is get to this because this is really fun. This is one of the basic shapes. On the iPad, in your iOS application, you are limited to altering your basic shapes. On your MacBook in Keynote, you can alter pretty much anything you want to. So maybe another day I'll get into that. But with this, to know if you can alter it, you have to see the two green dots that are on the particular star. Okay, those dots create modifications to this particular shape. We're going to change, we're going to grab the one that's at the crossroads of the star. It's on the blue, not the one that's out in the white area. And we're going to pull it in to where we have what looks like a starburst. Click off, click on, copy, and paste. Now what we're going to do is we are going to rotate this design. So I put my index finger in the middle and index finger in the middle, maybe, and rotate around with my middle finger. And I'm going to make it so it looks sort of like that, and I'm going to decrease the size. Maybe even make it a little uneven. I always click off, click on again, and move it. Now I'm going to superimpose it on my first one, select my back, select my front, select my back. I guess it's easier like that. And now I'm going to go to Arrange. And if you look at the very last row of tools, it says Combine Shapes. You have a series of tools. The one we're going to use today is the two squares that are blended into a different shape. In other words, the first tool from the left-hand edge. So I'm going to select that. And that actually creates one single shape. Now, if I like this shape a lot, which I do, I can select the shape and then I can add it to my personal shapes. And you can see I do this a lot. And on my all of my devices, if I use the cloud, this shape will now appear. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to color it. So I'm going to select this shape, go to Style, Fill. I could do anything I want. I think I'm going to do Color, and I'm just going to do white. And you can't see anything, which is really bad, so maybe I'll back it up for now. And I'm going to scroll out. What I want to do is, first of all, I'm going to select my triangle and my parentheses. And I'm going to copy, select, copy, copy, and I'm going to go back to my pumpkin. And I'm going to paste, and I'm going to size it down so that it fits in that kind of yellowish area. But I want to rotate it, so center point hold, rotate, more to follow the lines of the pumpkin. Now I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it. I'm going to go to Arrange, and I'm going to flip it horizontally. And that flips the shape, so I rotate it so that it kind of follows the lines of my pumpkin. And now I have two eyes. I'm going to copy my letter, copy, and I'm going to paste. And I could actually, if I want to make this bigger, I have to go back to the text. It's already selected, and I can increase the size. And we'll go up to around 300. Now this is dependent on what you selected in the beginning, okay? And now, the one that I just am so excited about. I'm going to go back to my star. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to bring it onto my pumpkin. Now, I'm going to size it way down, and I'm going to put it where the lightest part is, or close to it. And I'm going to go to the fill, and I'm going to select color and white. Now I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to do it on the other eye as well. And now my pumpkin has a little spark that just kind of glistens from the candle that's inside of him. I hope you've learned something new today, and enjoy your iPlanner, enjoy iDesign, and most of all, spread a little iPlanner love. Until next time.